Automation in marketing is a tool. Any tool can significantly help us in organizing things. However, the difference lies in how we use it. My name is Joanna Mateko. This is ZohoCast, and today we're going to talk about automation in marketing. Let's get started. In a well-designed company marketing strategy, automation can organize communication, improve lead quality, and increase sales. However, it can also become a source of frustration for both customers and marketing teams, because automation is not a solution to the problem, but rather a way to systematize the process and support sales. Instead of asking yourself whether it's worth implementing marketing automation, it's better to consider how it can actually support our processes. Today, I'd like to talk to you about journeys, not as a feature, but as a way of designing communication. But let's start from the beginning. Marketing journeys are not meant to send more messages, but rather to ensure that messages are not sent blindly. Traditionally in marketing, we prepare a campaign, set a schedule, and then execute it regardless of how the recipient reacts. Journeys reverse this pattern. The starting point is not on the marketing side, but on the recipient side. It is the recipient's behavior that determines whether communication should be continued, modified, or stopped altogether. And that's the first important thing. A journey is not a sequence, but a series of decisions. So, a well-designed journey doesn't answer the question of what we send, but rather how we communicate with the customer based on their decisions. But let's consider a concrete example, because without that, this is just theorizing. Let's assume that a company provides educational material, for example, an ebook. And here, in many companies, acquiring a contact who has downloaded such an ebook is already considered a success in itself. A lead has been acquired, and now we begin communication. The only problem is that simply being interested in the ebook is not a buying decision. It's just an initial sign of curiosity and really nothing more. However, the journey is supposed to help us distinguish this curiosity from genuine interest. Here we are supposed to give the recipient the space to actually make a decision. On the other hand, if someone downloads the material and disappears, that also tells us something. However, if someone returns to our website, reads more materials, and starts getting interested in our topics, it's worth finding out in what context and towards what goal we can guide such a potentially interested client. In Zoho Marketing Automation, we can design these journeys not only based on time, but specifically on behavior. The system not only counts the days, but actually monitors the activity of our potential client and only then decides what to do next. And this has huge business significance, so that the leads coming into the sales department are truly valuable and not just taking up our salespeople's time. It's important to remember here that journeys are not universal. You can't create one perfect path for everyone. That's why journeys make the most sense when they respond to a specific context. Because designing such a path is completely different for someone who is encountering our company for the first time, and completely different for a client who has been familiar with our products for many years. Moreover, it's worth considering whether such a journey should actually be created in certain circumstances. This is most often evident when marketing and sales don't have organized processes or shared definitions of leads. That's why if marketing journeys are to make sense and bring real benefits, they must be designed consciously. So, if someone opens the editor and starts building windows without having an idea of what the process should look like, it's worth asking yourself beforehand, why? For what purpose should this path even exist? Because a well-designed journey starts with a business goal. If you would like to create such a journey in marketing automation, we'll now move on to this tool and see what the process of creating such automation actually looks like. We click Create. After some careful thought, we eventually decide to give it a specific name. As you can see, in Zoho Marketing Automation, we already have ready-made templates that can help you once you have defined your goal. On the left side, we have ready-made templates for specific goals, such as welcoming, remarketing, or engagement on our website. Let's see, for example, what it looks like in the case of a visit to our website. As you can see, this tool is very clear and intuitive. On the left side, you have a list of triggers that initiate specific actions. Here we already have a ready-made template related to website visits. Next, we have the assignment of specific tags. Here, this time delay usually works to our advantage because we don't want to overwhelm the user right away with too much of our content. And now this is where we get to sending the email. After sending such an email, depending on whether the recipient opens the message or clicks on a specific field, we can design completely different actions based on how the recipient reacts to our content. If they are not interested at first, we can still try to send them a reminder after a certain period of time. If such a message is not opened by the recipient, we can decide whether to continue the automation and try to engage them with some other material, or we can exclude them from this journey and assume that this is not a person who will be interested in our company's offer. What's important is that the stages don't actually have to be long and complicated. We can simplify them, shorten them, and make sure they are clear and focused on a specific scenario. It's also worth noting that a lot depends on the development of our organization. If we actually have clearly defined processes, such a journey can be a great complement and support for building our marketing funnel. But it can also support the sales department in maintaining contact with regular customers. Because such a journey and customer contact can happen both at the stage of the first interaction, like after downloading an ebook or checklist, but it can also be carried out when someone has made a specific purchase and, for example, we have additional services or products to offer. So if you really want automation to support specific behaviors of your customers, get in touch with us. We'll be happy to show you how marketing automation works and how it can benefit your organization. And of course, we encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Thank you for today's episode and see you next time.